This one is a Geometry Dash track. It doesn't have the Geometry Dash gameplay, but it is included in Geometry Dash from what I have seen. We're going to be pausing a lot, so be advised. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed and following and sharing this video. So, this is Crazy by Creo. Let's analyze this as we go. Let me... Okay, I just wanted to get a solid grasp of that beat. We have three things going on at the same time. We have a synth giving us the metronome beat. We have bass and we have drums. The beat of the synth does not fully match the beat of the drums and the bass. The melody is being carried by the bass right now, and the drums are engaging on what is called syncopation. Syncopation is when you are playing something off the beat. The beat is not being fully carried right now, or at least the metronome is being carried by the synth, and that is technically the beat, and the other two instruments are playing against that, which is what is giving it this funky feeling to it. So, okay, another synth at the top, making some cadence. Ooh. Okay, so we are adding layers to this. This is really nice. The main theme, the motif here, is being carried by the bass. The bass is bong, 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 bong. Bom, bom, bom. That's the main theme. That's the motif of this thing. Motif, once again, being that essential, smallest seed of the musical idea from which everything is going to build up. However, this is more of a song, so we will see if that is true. We will see if the composer here, if Creo, ends up developing this much more. Because we do have this other synth that is coming from above with a completely different theme over here. Again, motific development, which is when you take that seed and you expand it, is really good. It's really nice. It's not 100% necessary. It's not 100% necessary. You can absolutely come up with new motifs and make it work for this track. Okay, another thing I noticed. The synth is no longer carrying the metronome. That has been moved to the drums. And now the synth is doing these arpeggios. Arpeggios is when you play a chord one note at a time. And the arpeggios are going on while everything is still playing against the bass. It creates this really funky feeling, and I'm loving it. Okay, yep, I see what it is. The drummer, of course, drummers usually have some of the most difficult jobs when it comes to this kind of music. Because what the drummer is doing, hands are keeping up with the metronome. The kick drum is keeping up with the bass. And that is what is tying everything together. Potato, welcome to today. How you doing?
Crazy.
A drop. Woo-hoo! Oh, look at that. So we do a very, very simple idea. We took a drop, which a drop uses one of the most powerful things that you can use as a musician: silence. It's really tricky to use silence. But if you use it right, like it happened here, because yeah, the drop happened, something was said, and there was like a split second of nothing. There was nothing there. And then you bring everything together. And now we have a synth and the bass still playing that same theme. And now everything around it has escalated even further. This is what is called an ostinato. What the bass is doing so far is an ostinato. This is an Italian word, so don't try to spell it. But the concept of an ostinato is that you have an instrument doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, while everything around it keeps developing it. And the bass is still going strong on this. Let's see how long they can keep this going. And of course, all the glitchiness, all the breaks on that is really cool. Ooh. We have another synth. Up above, a bit hidden, but it is playing the chords. It's arpeggiating the chords in a really, really cool way. I am loving these little glitch breaks that are so emblematic of electronic music nowadays. It doesn't really go against the beat, but it gives some really interesting pauses here and there. They're definitely not random, because if they were random, they would probably interrupt the beat at some point, and the beat is never interrupted. The ostinato of the bass is never fully interrupted. It never happens on the notes. It will happen in between notes. So you can tell that this is 100% intentional and thought out. Another drum, another drop with that. Look at that. Okay. A minute in, and the bass has moved from a full ostinato to only a rhythm ostinato. So the rhythm has stayed the same. It's just that instead of playing the different notes that it was playing, now it's just playing one note. Ballsy move, by the way. That's a ballsy move for a composer to do. To change something like that, to take away even more from the bass. But there's also the phrase, less is more, and this, if done right, it can be so nice. And right now it is, because this is giving now the artist more room for everything else. Now he can modulate if he wants to. He can modulate, being that you change from one key signature, one set of chords, to another set of chords completely different. He can mess around with the drums a bit more. He can mess around with the other synths a bit more. He gave himself more room by taking away half of the bass, of what the bass was doing. Let's hear how it goes. Okay, so what we did here is that we took that motif, so it wasn't entirely... So the rhythmic ostinato is still there. But now... boom, 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 boom. So instead of going up the third, it's now going up the fifth. And it's just doing the full leap. There's no more going scale. There's no more going up the scale. He's just playing two notes at two notes. He's still keeping that same rhythm, which is a very good thing to do. You want to keep things familiar, but not boring. And this is anything but boring, because everything else that is happening around is really fun. It's just fun. The other instruments are just having fun. Less is More is exactly why my favorite song is the Sound of the Special Needs Kids. There you go. Okay. I love this. So now we go back to the synth having that metronome. The synth, another synth now with a bit more fluff to it, is doing that metronome that we had at the start. And now we swapped the ostinato from the bass. Now instead of having the rhythm, we have the melody. And we took away the rhythm, we put back the melody, but without the rhythm. And we're doing a callback to the start. And of course, that other synth at the top. Oh, guitar. That's why. Oh, and we are slowly reintroducing elements of the original bass ostinato. We slowed things down. That was the whole point of this. It was to slow everything down, without giving you whiplash. Because there's a very big difference between slowly putting your foot on the brakes and slamming your foot on the brakes. It's a risky maneuver to slam it, so Creo has decided to just ease us into this. And of course, now we have a guitar, which I'm a guitarist. I love it when there's guitar. But at the same time, we also have a synth floating up above with a concept that I like to call a flying melody. We have a very busy middle lower section, like the bass is very busy, the middle is very busy, and then there's this melody flying and hovering and soaring above everything else, like flying over a field and the landscape and everything. I love that. I love it whenever it happens. It's so much. It's fun to me to hear that because it gives you that feeling that you're flying. It's very subtle in this one, so it works. It works. And the guitar is really good. Very nice guitar solo. So the guitar is partially a guitar solo. The guitar was partially a guitar solo, partially a riff, and now we bring it back to the start with even more variations. We have another set of synths doing those arpeggios. Oh! We have done what is called... It's a partial reduction. A reduction is when something becomes faster, and elongation is when something becomes slower. But what we've done here is that we have done 2 minutes in, we bring the first full variation of the original motif that we saw at the start. Because so far, everything else was a slight variation on the ostinato. I really like how Creo is playing around with this idea. Because now, we still have the bong, 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 bong. We no longer have that first note. Because it was bong, bom, 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 bom. You had that kind of thing. And now we only have the bom, 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 bom. There's no more that middle note. It's a small, like these are very subtle, relatively small variations to this theme. And it's working brilliantly. Oh yeah, and the whole phrase is now removed because whereas the original theme ended on the high note, this now ends on the lower note because the first one was bom bom bom. Now this one bom bom bom. He just took the first note and put it last. That's all that happened here, and it sounds so fun. It's so much fun to listen to this. It just sounds fun. You can tell that Creo is just having fun here. Electronic buildup. And now a complete variation.
Crazy.
Ooh. Yep. So we are going completely wild now. The song is going to end in a minute, so we are just building up and taking every variation we can think of and just throw it into the wall. We eased you at first. We brought the brakes nicely, like we eased you into the brakes. We have turned the corner, and now we are going for the straight. We're pedal to the metal. Pedal to the metal. We're putting the foot on the floor until we see either a checkered flag or God. Nice.
Crazy.
Pulling all the stops, having a beat, a drop. Ooh. Yep. Oh, we're going insane with this. There we go. Back to the original theme. Still presenting here and there. Oh my god. Yeah, we're adding drops a lot more often. Oh. Yep, and not to mention all the other synths that are happening around and just building everything, keeping everything together. This is really fun. This is really fun. Oh. And now the original theme. Don't you dare fade out. Okay, good. Oh, and we end on that upbeat. We end on the upbeat just like that. Oh, that was cocky. That was so cheeky. That was one way to end the song. I love it. I love it. Ending the song on that upbeat. Oh my god, that was I love it. I love it because you think you're gonna go for another beat, and turns out, no, it's over. It's over. We called it. We called it. The amount of music in the last 30 seconds or the last minute was around the same amount of intensity as the first 2 minutes combined. We had about double the number of drops. Instead of dropping every section, we were dropping almost every few bars. Really, really good. Structure-wise, this was really, really fun. I am just happy to see, because structure-wise, we had, of course, we had a section A, that was the first part. Then we built section B, and we ended with I would say a bridge. We had a bridge there, or an intermission, with the guitar solo and the breaks and everything. So an intermission / break, and then A prime. For those of you who are relatively new, this is a very interesting variation of your simple A, B, A prime structure. We had the first musical idea, contrasting second musical idea, which was kind of split into two parts. So in this case, we had section A, then we had section B, which was kind of built into B1 and B2, with the two themes being variations of theme A, but they were more like A minus one of the aspects. So B1 was A minus melody. Variation 2 was A minus rhythm. Then we got into the interlude, into the break, the bridge, whatever we want to call this, the drops of everything. And then we jump back into A prime to close the track. And to make it even better, to make it even funnier, we end it in the upbeat to make it feel like the square isn't even finished. And you can just loop it right back to the start. Right back to the start. This is really good. And then again, it's just another ABA. You take a concept so simple and you make so much out of it. It was really good. Again, for an ABA, 3.5 minutes is pretty good. It's really, really good. And there you have it. That was Crazy by Creo from the Geometry Dash. Is used in Geometry Dash. That's why we're analyzing this, because we're doing video game music. Really good stuff. Once again, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you're liking and subscribing and sharing all this good stuff. If you want to request a song and you're not watching on the live, make sure you leave a comment with the song that you want. Make sure it's video game music. We can only do video game music because of how copyright works. And yeah, make sure you join the Discord as well, because that's where all the news happen. If you can also request songs on the Discord, by the way. We have our song request channel for that. I might create it one for just this, for the music analysis that we're doing, so that we have it everything in a nice separate own location. But that's for me to figure out. So yeah, there you go. That was Crazy by Creo. Very fun stuff. Very fun stuff. Good. I like it. But let's move on.